final presentation, Michelle Lee. Michelle is a people-centered software maker. Currently, she leads the developer onboarding group at Protocol Labs, and she's got an extensive history behind that. And I will, give her a chance to introduce herself. She was a Code for America Fellow with the City of Philadelphia, and then a co-founder and CEO of TextDesign, platform that helps cities connect with their residents through text and email workflows. Previously, she invented Google Forms, which I know we all use, designed online trust and safety tools for eBay, and studied human-computer interaction at Stanford. Quite an interesting background, and she'll be with us in just a second. Michelle, I want to thank you again for joining us, adding to the intrigue of what we have today for the summit.
Hi, Luke. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Great to be here, everyone. All right. Well, I'm very delighted to come here and tell you about all the ways that I want to give you all money. So in a moment, I will be sharing my screen and talking through some of our grants programs at the Filecoin and IPFS projects. So here we go. All right. So welcome, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there through such a long and exciting day. And thank you very much to our organizers for putting together such a jam-packed schedule. So I am calling from Philadelphia, which is on the east coast of the US. It's a subtropical climate. It's hot and humid. It's 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. Trust me, I'm going somewhere with this. I spend a lot of time mountain biking, and we joke that our local trail system is the jungle. And everything's alive in the jungle. And that's what building in Web3 feels like right now. There's just so much creative and unstoppable activity, a lot of different intertwined projects and movements. It's really hard to untangle them. And you can see things like, hey, ferns are taking advantage of the shade of the bigger trees for their ideal climate. And you've got vines growing up these branches and taking over the trail in the background. It's getting narrower and narrower. And so this is a really exciting and inspiring place to be building, but we also don't want to take these conditions for granted. So plants need moisture, nutrients, shade, need a lot of things to grow, not just as individual plants, but an interconnected and mutually beneficial system. And so that's why we call our community and growth group the Ecosystem Working Group at the Filecoin and IPFS projects. And our mission is to enable developers and entrepreneurs like yourselves to execute on your dreams through advocacy, technical support, grants, collaborations, as you iterate towards success and get ready to hit escape velocity, whatever that means for you, whether that is, hey, that was a great learning project, now I'm gonna put it on pause and try something else, or hey, my open source project is sustainable because I found these ways to have a really engaged and extensive volunteer network, or you reach profitability, or you go after accelerator programs and venture investment. So really any model where we're bringing in people just getting started building in Web3, realizing the software or the technology projects of your dreams, and then using the collective community support to help you get to the next level. So today I want to specifically talk about some of the grants programs. As an overview, we have 3 tracks of grants: next step microgrants, we have open grants, and we have targeted grants. So I'll talk about the microgrants first. The next step microgrants are a really straightforward program. It is offering $5,000 to take the next step on your project. So in the application, which I'll walk through shortly, all we're asking is, did you start something? Like, is there evidence on GitHub that you started building in this ecosystem? And do you have a credible plan to get to the next step and open source that work? So that's all. Filecoin, IPFS, or libpdp should be used in the project stack, but it can also be indirectly through frameworks like Textile or Pinata pinning services, or really anything that builds on top of those. It's a very lightweight application with a weekly review. I will share these URLs again later, but I just want to walk through the process. So you can see on the left side, we have some accepted grant applications. This is all in the GitHub repos for you to check out the history. To apply, you create a new issue. There is a template with 6 questions. Some of those questions ask you for links to things in your GitHub repo or in the community forums. But basically, it's a page and a half of information. And we review these every single week. So trying to get back to you quickly. We've had grantees who needed these funds to pay an infrastructure or hosting bill. We've had grantees who've used these funds to hire great designers and UX writers so that their app would be more user friendly and more popular. We've had folks use this to fund their own time, so that they could continue investing in the project. So it's really there's no restriction on the funds other than it has to go directly towards your project, and that's the microgrants program. Let's see. After this, we come to open grants. So open grants range typically from $5,000 to $50,000 for novel work to apply IPFS, Filecoin, or libp2p to new domains, or to bring significant new usage. So really any project that that has promise of really extending these networks or these ecosystems, or maybe integrate these technologies into your existing project. So it's still very open-ended. There are a few dedicated tracks that are listed in the repository. We specifically have some collaborative grants with the Hedera token service, with Chainlink oracles. More are coming in the next 2 weeks. So a lot of collaborations across Web3 that we're interested in seeing people, combine multiple projects into a single application. There are also some RFPs for specific areas of interest, but we're also, I believe, more than 3/4 of grants are awarded to open, completely new ideas. So we want to hear everything that you have to share. I would call it a middleweight application process. It's a little more than an issue, but it's a lot simpler than really most application processes. And we review these every month. So just to walk through some of the process, you create your own project idea that meaningfully advances the stack. You can also check out the RFPs for lists of ideas or areas of interest. Then you submit a PR using the proposal templates. I believe it's about 2 pages of information to fill out. Really just looking for a strong proposal that includes evidence that you've thought through the problem, that that you have the experience to deliver on it, and that you're breaking it down into realistic milestones. So that's the open grants shape or structure. We review these every month, and so the longest you'll have to wait for a response is 1 month. And what they used to be quarterly, but we wanted to move towards an even faster review cycle to give people the chance to hear back and make their plans and get on with building your project. So just a few of the past grantees. I wish I had time to share all of them with you because there are some really cool projects. This was one of my favorite microgrants this year, to a project called AJam. And it's a web application that hosts asynchronous jam sessions for musicians. So you can record little snippets of you playing one track. It publishes to IPFS, and then you can also invite other users to contribute their tracks to your hot new record. Really, really cool use of IPFS there. Another one, much lower in the stack, this is for a project called Go Graph Split. So if you're storing directly on Filecoin and you're not using one of the many really awesome and easy to use storage helpers, if you're building directly on a core Filecoin implementation, you need to split your data set into pieces smaller than either 32 or 64 gigs. And this is just a really simple and clean utility that can split your data into the right size data set. So, really nice little building block. It's not necessarily trying to solve every problem in the world, but it solves one particular problem really neatly. So we really like to see tools like this that can be used by a lot of different players. And then here's a very different project. This is a whole initiative. It's not just software, but it's also the program and system and working with a local regional governments to make this happen. It's a GeoWeb project, and it's a set of protocols and systems for tying digital property rights to physical land in parts of the world where there can be a lot of unclear land records. So there are also grants. We also give grants to community builders. So sometimes it's not just software that you ship or an application that you publish, but we've had grantees propose hosting meetups. Or, someone who's fantastic at building communities requests a bit of funding to host a small or large event. We've also awarded a grant recently to a team that was building an incubator program for storage providers. So, coaching and developing small scale storage providers so that we could further decentralize the system and help even more new players get on board. So as you can see, wide range of grantees. I know that there are two of these are open grants, and so that means the teams have probably had more experience working together, but we also really like to award micro grants, so don't hesitate to apply. All you need is just some evidence that you've started building in this realm. So it does not have to be a fully featured app before you apply. In fact, the whole point is to help you get there. So really want to encourage anyone who is interested in these ideas to consider applying for a grant. Here are a few ways to reach us. I think that having raised venture capital before, I think that the climate of those conversations can be a little adversarial, and we aim to be the opposite of that. We really are here to support and encourage you with resources to help build new things on top of this Web3 stack. So one way to reach us is to create a draft PR with your submission, or file an issue and label it work in progress. You're not penalized at all for these early submissions, and we're happy to work with you to help shape it into something that's a strong application. You can also email us, grants@filecoin.org, or join in the Filecoin project Slack, the grants-questions channel. Happy to answer any questions that you have there. So that's about it from us. In addition to the grants team, I also lead our developer advocacy group. So we have a lot of ways that we want to, get to know what you're building, support you, encourage you, and really build the future of Web3 together. So thanks very much. Luke, is there a chat with questions that I can answer, or?
I think the best foot forward here would be to continue the conversation in Discord. I know people are going to be having questions from all the presentations today, and I want to thank you for your willingness to do that. If that's all right with you, I think they could also reach out to you given the contact information that you had just posted. We're expecting probably, I want to say, close to 100 plus projects coming out of this event. I know I can speak for a lot of the hackers in that they will be quite interested in finding grants and other funding options following the event. So I want to thank you for your presentation, and thank you for your time explaining that. It's a great way to close out an event with a lot of enthusiasm for the builders.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for having me here. It's great to be here. For the builders, I just want two words: non-dilutive. Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to be taking things offline from here unless you have any further comments. More than welcome to.
I think that's it for me. I will hop into the Discord, and along with my friends at Filecoin and IPFS, we'll try to answer any questions that people have.
All right, thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone for joining us today for the IPFS and Filecoin Builders Day Summit. Thank you to all the speakers, and thank you to the rest of the ETHGlobal team for making this happen. I think we're all impressed by how things went today, and excited to see what comes out of the next 3 weeks of hacks and summits. Don't forget, we do have a summit coming up again next week. Join us right here on ETHGlobal.tv, and don't miss a moment of the action. But other than that, happy hacking. We're looking forward to seeing what you can build. Any questions, comments, or concerns, throw it in the Discord and we'll help you out.